Israelis, this is an act of revenge, torturing the Palestinian prisoners in prison. Some decent Israeli people, they are disclosing all these things. Their conscience is not okay with what's going on. So only this way we know that this is taking place in a very systematic way.
You don't really have any practical solution to this, though. I mean, because it is, Barguti, if he is killed, it would be, I think, very devastating to Palestinian politics, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. But as I said, this is the way that the Israelis are doing killing business and torturing business, and they know that the international community is helpless in stopping them using force. But there are other things that the international community can do easily, and that's what we've been trying to do for the last 2 years. You know, in all the capitals, when you see the people, the youth, everybody is protesting against the Israeli genocide. And the countries, their numbers are increasing in recognition of the Palestinian statehood.
Yes.
And we see that the Palestinian cause is gaining ground, but at the same time, the degree of brutality is also increasing. So I think Mr. Netanyahu is really harming in a very bad way the future of Israel and Israeli state. So
okay.
it should stop.
The clock is being very brutal to me, and I just wanted to ask you two last things. One was about Ukraine. You said you were I think your words were scary, what was been happening in terms of attacks on shipping close to Turkey, and that you were going to have conversations with the Ukrainians about this. They've denied responsibility for some of these attacks. Are you satisfied now that the Ukrainians are not going to be attacking shipping close to Turkey, and that there's going to be a
we have
toning down?
No, we have discussed about this subject with our Ukrainian friends, and not only the Ukrainians, we also communicated the same concerns with the Russian side as well. We just talked to their ambassador, and I talked to my counterparts on both capitals about the subject, because this is very sensitive for us. We don't want to see the trade routes are being targeted and the trade ships being hit. This is exactly what we were concerned right from the beginning, because this is an escalation of war by geography and by a different methodology.
Last question, which is, in this national security strategy, which the Americans published slightly strangely on Thursday night, and this is relevant to you because I think Turkey hosts the NATO summit next year, there's a passage which says, over the long term, it is more than plausible that within a few decades at the latest, certain NATO members will become majority non-European. As such, it's an open question whether they will view their place in the world or their alliance with the United States in the same way as those who signed the NATO Charter. I don't know what he means, or the American Secretary of State means by majority non-European, but it might be code for Muslim. What's your reaction to reading words like that? The idea that somebody's majority non-European doesn't have loyalty to NATO.
Well, I don't know what you have understood, but my understanding is that because I might be biased because of the discussions on the NATO circles, because within NATO Ministerial Committee, there is a discussion about EU and non-EU NATO members. Yeah. When we say non-EU NATO members, it comprises United States, us, UK, Norway, and...
Well, the phrase is used as European, not EU. So I think we know what it means, surely.
Yeah. Well, this must be an introduction and new discussion into NATO circles, because we've been having this discussion, EU and non-EU NATO members, because EU is about the, EU is always coming up with new ideas to form its own security architecture, whereas NATO says, we have NATO here, almost all EU members are NATO members, you don't need to have a separate security architecture.
Right. Look, thank you so much. I've overshot by a little way, and You can return to the Rose Garden.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I wish we had more time.
Me too.